But hi guys, welcome back to Sound Words. A bit more than that. We got a few very, very, very special guests. I'll let introduce them in a second. I myself is Dan.
I'm Palumi.
And who have you got to our right?
I'm Jacob.
Hi Jacob. Nice to meet you.
I'm Josh.
Oh, Ade Josh. Celebrity. And lastly,
I'm Michelle.
Nice to meet everyone. How's everyone doing? How's everyone's day been today?
A whole load of work and then more work after that.
Tired?
They tried to finish me today, man. But we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to ask a question just quickly off the bat. So Jacob, obviously I'll go with you. Just introduce yourself a bit, like what do you do, and just a bit about yourself quickly.
Okay. So I'm Jacob, 26. My main thing is construction. Also do youth work as well. And also with an organisation where I'm like a DIY handyman. And,
Jeez, I could tell, man.
Put
them away, man.
Love that.
And then, in my free time, as you guys mentioned, I like to work out a bit. I'm going to do my second marathon in September.
Woo! Yeah.
You said second.
Yeah.
How's the first one? Sorry. How's the
first one? I wasn't prepared for that, but it was very nice. People were really nice to me. Really nice to me.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask better questions.
No, go ahead.
What is one thing you will say the whole experience that you picked up from like your journey? Like if it was a thing or a walk with God, why was that a thing that God made you do? What did you pick up from the experience?
From marathon?
Yeah.
I think some of you guys will know that I sweat very easily. This was a thing where I knew, my prayer got answered. Definitely. No doubt my prayer got answered. Beforehand, this was at the times where it was September 10th last year. So when it was still around 30 degrees, 32 degrees. So usually by then I'm cooking, I'm baking, sizzling, but what do you call it? But when I went there, I was like, God, please give me strength. I knew I was going to finish it, no doubt about that. But it was just more, let me just be strong and everything. And people were fainting on the way. They even kind of cancelled the event because there was enough staff to help, but there wasn't enough transport to take them to where they need to go. So it was very hot. I didn't realize the heat until when we went to the water stations and I poured it on myself.
Then you two.
And it felt like that's why I was like, okay, I get why everyone's on the floor. Because before I was like, why is everyone on the floor for? It's not that bad, but it was that bad. But my prayers were answered.
Would you say challenging?
Yeah, challenging, and I get why people won't do it.
I think I want to do it once. But
I would want to do a marathon.
I feel like I like the idea of it. Like, I'm going to run.
But I don't want I'm doing it. I'm not like at all.
You see when your heart is... if you guys bang ball, you know when your heart is trying to say, hey, if you're not careful.
I decided to run a marathon though at like 16.
Is it?
Okay.
Oh.
I used to like proper
Wait,
run.
sorry to interrupt everyone. How long is a marathon, by the way?
Yeah.
26.22 miles.
Miles, yeah.
Or like 40 something K.
Can we put that in context though? Like, how far is that?
It's further than going from our house to Heathrow.
I don't know what's that.
So like Crystal Palace to Heathrow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like 7 more miles than that. I think 7 more miles. Because I've ridden to Heathrow, but that was 19 miles.
You rode to Heathrow.
Yeah. But that was 19 miles.
There's no one that's like kind of just done it. One go in it. You have to take breaks because 20 something miles.
Your body slows down naturally. When I don't know what I thought by doing it at all. I don't know, like, because I don't even know, but I think it was just a thing where me and my friends that we were doing a running club were just like, oh, let's just run it. We've done running like all our lives. Let's just run a marathon. And we just decided to run a marathon and we got trained for it and everything, but the training was not compared to doing. But it's like it's such a fulfilling thing, like to finish, and you see other people doing it for different reasons as well, and it even almost mimics life's race. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just
Easy at the start.
Yeah, like it's really it's just I don't know how to describe that feeling of like for a marathon. It's like you just know you have to persevere. And the challenges are so eternal. Like your body's shutting down. You're like you don't have, like you need water, but you can't take water because you're having stitches. Like you're battling people running around you. You're battling everyone else's emotions, and it's like to then finish. It's like not that all glory to me, but it's like that it wasn't all by yourself that you got to the end.
We were talking about that earlier. Like I feel like the reflection of God is in the reality of life. Like going the marathon, going to the gym, pregnancy, going through a journey. That sucks. Sorry. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but just going through a journey that's really hard. Like you see, I can only imagine you're thinking, bro, how is my man picking up speed and like I'm here, like I'm saying, but getting to the destination is where the glory is at.
So do you feel like I think that's very important, because a lot of people, can forget about I forgot about the destination. I was thinking that finish line is far. Do you know what I mean? Like if I end now, no one's gonna hate me. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Do you get, like at the end of the day, no one forced you to be on a journey, and no one's forcing you to continue. Like a lot of people can see that to mimic life, and it's like no one's forcing you to reach your goals, but there's a lot of things that kind of like punch you on the way, and it's like, sometimes it's really hard to escape that hardship. And I don't know about you or any personal hardships that you guys have been through and that you can share, that you thought like, not that this is the end, but it's like this one might have taken me out kind of vibe. Do you know what I mean? And some people might seem small, some people might seem big, but like it can be one, it can be two. Anything that you want to like to say, like that could have just been like, that is it.
I'm gonna go quickly back to Ade, Josh and Michelle quickly, because obviously you introduce yourself. Just quickly, a small thing on what you do. Who you are.
Ade Josh, I am a musician.
Cheers.
I do music, anything sounds related I'm invested in. I'm a choir lead in my church. I love God, innit?
That's why we're here, man. And Michelle?
So I do a bit of everything, I think. Well, I have a 9 to 5, of course. I'm a case manager by day, and then I do other things behind the scenes, entertainment industry. I'm in the business, got to make your money. So I have, ways I make money. I'm into forex trading. I do.
Them numbers are scary.
Oh yeah, don't worry, I got you, girl.
Okay, so no, back to what Prima said though. Like you mentioned, I'm gonna go to the Josh quickly. You mentioned something about how obviously like music is your passion. I'd say you're choir lead in church as well. Was there ever a time in your life, I'd say, because I feel like a lot of musicians experience this as well. Was there ever a time in your life where you thought, obviously, like what I'm doing might not be worth it?
I'm like every 2 days. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so leading on from that, I want to say then, like, what kind of makes you like, what more?
You know, it's like asking a pregnant woman, when she says, I can't push, why does she continue to push? Because there's just the truth of it is I met God through music. So God used music to save my life, because we're doing this. Cool. Do you know what it is? There was a moment in my life where a warning was given. I didn't listen to that warning. And God made it clear that if you don't listen, you're gonna feel my wrath. You go learn. And the honest truth is, I didn't listen, and for the 5 years from that moment, I didn't listen. My life went downhill. I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts. It was crazy. And I remember there was a day I was playing keyboard in church and I felt disconnected. And God was like, I'm going to bring you back to singing. And I laughed because them times growing up, being like Justin Bieber or JLS, that was kind of wet. So, you know what I'm saying? So cut long story short.
I
love them guys.
No, but you know, it's like just like me going to the man and saying, yeah, guys, I'm singing. Like, check this out. It's just like, we're trying to listen to the boys that are going bo. But yeah, so it was a bit difficult for me. It was a bit difficult, but God God said that I'm bringing you back to music, and I laughed, and He saved me through music. Like my relationship, my encounter with God, everything's really been music based. So again, me walking away from music kind of feels like I'm walking away from God. Like, so that's what's kind of just kept my drive to, even when I feel to give up, just knowing that, yeah, you walking away from God, you know, I'm not saying you're not going to get a better feel or better sense of God, but you know your calling, you know the route you're meant to be on. And that's why I kind of like that 50 Cent saying, you say get rich or die trying. That's kind of like my motto. I'm trying to experience the level, I'm trying to experience God. I'm trying to see what God's capable of in this music thing. So I'm just going and trying to see God's hand, and anything that comes my way is kind of a blessing in disguise. So yeah.
And so from that one encounter, so from that one lesson, you were able to like see that the course of your life was changed?
Now, do you know, I feel like God had to blow my mind. Like I remember I was living in Nigeria for like a year. Okay, even before Nigeria, I used to do fraud. That was my bread and butter. And I remember there was a period that God said, this needs to stop now. And I really thought, how am I going to survive? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's crazy because there's people that were made money together. You know what I'm saying? But when I put it down, I promise you, within 2 weeks, random DM from Universal, and that's when I got signed. And the money they offered me was more money than I've ever made in the last 3 years of doing it. You know what I'm saying? So God does these small wows, and it just kind of shows you your route. But even being signed wasn't my destination.
Yeah,
It was part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? So
you would say that obedience is what like saves you from near misses.
Fact. But at the same time, I feel like doubt is a spiritual currency, and it takes away, it stops or can hinder God's hand from actually manifesting. It's such a wicked, bitter spirit. So, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, obedience is mandatory. It's mandatory. I've always learned to listen to the spirit God gave me. Always learned to listen to it. And I've just learned that, our job as humans is just to go. No matter how hard it gets, our job is just go.
Said, follow me.
I've realized God's job is to paint the picture. How it looks like, how people perceive it, that's God's job.
Yeah.
I'm just here to go. So yeah.
That's very like, it's very mature to fully surrender yourself. I feel like a lot of people try to say that they're going to surrender themselves to God, but to full surrenderance, to be like, wherever you're going, I'm going to, like, wherever you're like, I'm no longer leaning on my own understanding. I'm fully letting you have control. And I feel like as humans, it's very hard to kind of, release, because at the end of the day, you're the one living the everyday. So but I want to have control.
I feel like
every day.
As you said, as humans, it's easier said than done. It's I have an issue, for example, with faith and how it gets preached. Like, they emphasize just have faith. And that's it. But you realize that faith is not that. Faith, to even have faith, is an ugly road. It's a dark place. They don't paint the reality. They just say, no, all you need to do is have faith, like it's easy. To be in that position to have faith, bro, you're actually asking, God, what's up? Like, I'm actually giving you my heart in purity. Everything I got is you. And I'm waiting. That's why I actually understand. You see these Bible verses, my soul waits on the Lord. Jesus Christ. Imagine the emotions behind that. To actually be in my soul waits. It's like, I know I'm giving my all. So I'm just waiting. It's like when you say yes. So man.
Hey, Jacob, what would you have to say about that? Like, what experiences have you had that you feel like you've just had to have like total surrender to God and just let Him have His way?
I don't know if I've ever actually done total surrender, I think it's always been, because it's new to me, and going off what I've seen other people do, I also saw others where it didn't seem like they were giving a full surrender. So, but I'm not blaming others, it's more just Yeah, because it's something new to me, and even my walk is very fresh. Like I'm still a baby, I say, more or less. So it's like there's no one in my life I've really surrendered my whole self to. So it's kind of how do I? There's no template really for me. I know I can read the Bible and stuff, which I do, but at the same time, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, damn, I'm not doing it on my own, but there's the viewpoint that I have right now. I need to kind of change and unlearn stuff because I feel like I still have a worldly mind, but in order for me to surrender, I need to kind of take that that worldly mind away, and also like really open my heart, but not to rubbish, but to good. So that's a process. And the other thing is, usually when I try to go for a process, I'll skip steps a lot. That's a very big issue that I have. So with that, I feel like I've tried to skip steps as well. And it's come to, that will lead to confusion sometimes. Other times I've deceived myself badly. Yeah, very badly. And only now I'm learning.
Yeah, so if you don't mind me asking, why did you give your life to Christ? Because you said you're like a baby Christian, so it's new, it's like fresh to you. Like, what prompted that? You know,
because I feel like deep down, all of us, I think every single human, because we're made in the image of God and stuff, and He created us. So I think a part of Him is always in us, and there's always a drawing towards Him. But if there's too much noise around, too much distractions, then we might not hear it. But I felt like there was always something there. I didn't know exactly what it was, and when I was younger, I've been going to church and stuff, but I've never read a Bible before. I would hear people talk about Matthew or something, but never have anything for myself. Not seen anything spiritual as far as I'm concerned. So, but there was just there's something. There was like in me, it was like there's something, and I'm not too sure what it is. And I was holding on. I was like, okay, maybe I don't care about swearing anymore. I might start swearing. And the reason why I was going to that is because I saw everyone was having fun, or what I thought was fun. Like, I don't want to feel guilty for having fun, so I'm leaving this alone. Yeah, I'm turning away from God. Like, let me feel how everyone else feels when they go to parties and stuff. Then I started to do that, and I was like, this is kind of dead. What am I doing? I was like, because
the parties with them.
No, just I was thinking because obviously when I was growing up, everyone's always talking about depression and stuff. Like, I've never felt depression or anything, or just certain things. And it's like, but I'm starting to act more like these people. So I'm going to start getting what they're getting. I'm going to have the same complaints and all this and that. And then I just started feeling like I was going around in circles. Like, oh, I'm gaining some new information. Like, I'm going to do everything on my own. Then I was like, but I feel terrible. Like, I feel terrible. I was starting to turn to things as well that weren't really working out. Then, you know, like how when we go camp every year, that's where it gets to be more intimate. Like, I'm not on my phone. I'm in an environment I like where I'm around people and I get to be with people. And then from there, it really just ignited that I need to find truth. So I started to seek the truth. And Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. So it's like, I'm trying to find that truth. So that's why I've given my life, basically.
Yeah, what's your biggest achievement and the biggest obstacle behind it? It could be in construction, it could be in anything like life.
I think right now, currently at this moment, my biggest achievement has been actually listening to what was being said to me in my face all the time, but I never listened to it. So let's say, for example, how God speaks through different ways. I think when people are giving me certain messages and stuff, it's like, before I wouldn't try to read in between the lines. It was more just take things at face value, or my mind will be, people are trying to tell me things, they're trying to help me, or my mind is on, I want to watch TV, or just something random. But it's like now, it's getting to a point where it's like, people have been trying to help me. Like, I feel like God's been always trying to draw me in, but I wasn't listening. But now I'm starting to be more attentive to stuff, and I want to be less like self-centered and stuff. And I feel like I'm actually starting to become the person that I was meant to be within Christ. So I think that's my biggest achievement so far. And the obstacle with that was when people were like trying to help me at the time, I thought, oh, people are just saying stuff to be nice. I know you like. I hear when you say this person on the mic is rubbish, but then when you see them, you're saying, "Nah, you're good." So I was thinking I was assuming that's what everyone's doing with me. Like you're saying, "Yeah, I should do boxing. I got potential. They're like you're just chatting. That's how I took it. Anything that was good towards me, I couldn't accept it because
didn't take compliments.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not to take the conversation elsewhere,
Yeah, go.
But have you noticed that I feel like a lot of people, especially black people in the black community, we have, I don't want to say imposter syndrome, but it's just like we feel like we don't deserve good things, or like, you know what I'm saying, or like, why is that?
Some people say slavery.
Like that's a big obstacle for, I feel like, a lot of. Yeah, do you know? What's that? It's like, what, have you noticed? Like they run. Have you guys?
They laugh and they run.
They're running in the car. Like, bro, really?
Everything is slavery.
No. That is a
That is
serious.
true, though.
I don't. Right.
Why? I don't think. People grace, and then 2, the people that have made it by chance, or they don't even feel like they've made it to give you the confidence that you can make it to. Do you get what I mean? And then another thing is that a lot of people, I think, is you haven't unlocked your full potential yet to then feel like, oh, this what I'm doing, I can 100% do it. You can do it to a 60%. Do you know what I mean? Like some people be like, oh, Palumi, you're such a great singer. Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like compared to what you see other people doing, and a comparison thing. Compared to what you see other people doing, you've kind of created a rating in your mind, and you've placed yourself at that rating. So it's like when you're now seeing other people give you opportunities because they've placed you in a higher rating, you don't feel comfortable. So it's just the.
I feel like it brings to light, love your neighbor like you love yourself, man. Like the energy you give sometimes. I believe it's like the Bible. The Bible is not meant to be a sword to attack all your enemies. It's really to attack yourself. Yeah. It's like the biggest devil we'll face in our life is ourselves. Yeah. So when someone else has given us love, it's a good experience for you to feel like, I don't know, because it's kind of like the demon kind of exposing itself. You know what I'm saying? It gives it like a working point. So it's not saying there was a demon. But you know what I'm saying? God forbid. But that's why I do understand, like, show love, man.
Yeah, I think black people are scientifically like proven to just be hardworking. Like even with our role models as well. I think like a lot of our parents, they worked 2 to 3 jobs and stuff like that. And like I think where our parents, like some of them didn't even go like university or anything. I think a lot of their roles were just to provide for our family. So I think we also take on that burden. Like, you know what, cool, we want to be this and that. However, how can we first provide for one another and like for our family that we're going to have in the future. So I think that's where I forgot the syndrome that you said, but like imposter syndrome, like we're not capable of doing anything, comes into it. But I wanted to ask you, Michelle, as well, just quickly going back to the topic. Has there been any situation where, like, in your life per se, I'd say, where God has kind of intervened, where obviously you've kind of been led astray, I'd say? Do you want me to rephrase it?
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to think. Been led astray. Potentially. I mean, most probably, yes. I think everybody probably has been through that. I'm trying to pinpoint some things, but I guess let me go through from the... from day one. I'm still friends with them today. But
female friendships.
I think that's because I've never attached myself to a group. I'm an individual that has different type and strains of friends. And that's because I've come from an angle of accepting people for who they are. And when I've accepted them for who they are, I know how to keep them. Yeah. I can still love you, but there's boundaries. You get what I'm saying?
That deserves
I can still love you, but there's boundaries, and I guess that's like the different levels of that. However, there have been people where I probably may have like held them in too tightly into my doesn't serve. Do you understand? And the thing is, like I said, I said that thing that I keep all my friends, but somehow God will remove you. And it doesn't have to be a war, it doesn't have to be beef, it doesn't have to be animosity. Obviously, as human beings, naturally someone's going to be petty and stuff, but it doesn't have to be animosity to get. And I think that's sort of where that has been for me. Like, I've had certain people in my life that I didn't necessarily let go of when I should have, or I could have, or there were like signs to like, oh, let them go. You know what I mean? Like, separate from them. But God had to do it himself. And it's always in the maddest way, because when it happens in that way, it's not even on you. Do you get, at the end, it's not on you. It's not on you. And then when they want to spin the block, babes, it was you. It wasn't me. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand? It was you. And I like how God does this thing, because he will do it in such a way where it's like I said when we were having a conversation earlier, he's very humorous. Do you understand? And he will do something. And the way he will do it, everybody involved will be confused. Do you get? Because it's not flesh. It's not, it's spirit. Do you understand? And so for me, I think I can pinpoint, friendship. I can acknowledge that. And even going back to, what you guys were talking about as well, the challenges in life. Like, I always hold on to the pandemic as my rebirth. Because I went through a lot.
I can't lie, pandemic messed up a lot of
I went through a lot. And isolation was my pandemic. I was in isolation, literally. Do you get what I mean? And if we're even talking about the topic, when you finish university and you're looking for that job, and then you get your job.
Still looking.
You get your job. You're still looking. You get your job. You think it's like all rosy and everything, but then you realize, I'm depressed now. It's not serving
another
me.
challenge.
It's not serving me in that way. And then you spread your wings. We have that imposter syndrome that, we don't think we're good enough for things. But you spread your wings and then you get something. You're like, God did this for me. He got me this job. And then I get the job. A month later, the pandemic hits. I'm now not eligible for furlough. So when everyone's there making their money, sitting in the pandemic, eating and that, I'm not. You get, like,
and that's tough. That's mental.
It's tough. And not only just that, but literally, I always say this, like, if I've spoken to you since that time, the 5 days in the pandemic was hell for me. But it was my rebirth, and I didn't know. Do you get?
I think there's something, sorry to interrupt you, there's something important that you said as well, like it being your rebirth. And I think a lot of Christians tend to go through that. Even in the Bible, we all know the story of Saul, and obviously he was persecuting Christians. God obviously done what he does, and then he became Paul. And I think a lot of us do tend to go through that, but it's going to lead on to a question. My question being is, has there ever been something that, it's similar to this first question I asked you actually, but I'm going to kind of change it. You said something about your friends and how obviously there's friends that you've had that obviously God just took out your life. Was there any like situation, I'd say, that you had like your friends and then like God just took, or it could be anybody, like God just took someone out of your life and obviously it turned to be the best decision?
Yeah, going back to what I was referring to, I think it was the best decision, because I later realised that even though no one's perfect, right? I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but I try my best to be a good person. And I'd like to think that everyone that knows me thinks I'm a good person and I'm not evil, I'm not, I don't have...
or anything,
Right, so... But it turned out that, like, when I came out of the situation, you hear a lot of background noise, and you're like, oh...
That's the way they view you now.
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't want to say this before, but, I just felt that, you know, you guys are stuck up. Or I felt that you're just
Or
feeling
you're
feeling a certain way, because I guess maybe it was from the angle they were looking at. Like, you know, when you're very close to somebody, you guys are like, the vibrations, you lot are oozing off each other's energy, do you get? And like, when you now separate and you can see, oh, maybe there was some flaws then, or do you understand? Like, maybe
it wasn't as fulfilling as you
do you
thought.
understand what I
Can't really
mean?
see someone when you're like so close to them.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
saying, yeah.
And I feel like sometimes that can be my downfall, in the sense of like just trying to, you can't, like I said earlier, you can accept people for who they are, but they don't have to be in your life though.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I think that for me was that situation.
Which is great to have, you know, a God that sees the bigger picture.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Before
Right.
even if you can't see it. But what did you want to say?
No, it's bouncing off basically what both of you guys said. How God moves is like experiencing death or heartbreak. It sucks. Like you're thinking, what is tomorrow even gonna look like? But I feel like God knows His level of investment in each individual. So God knows how to mechanic certain situations to get what's inside you. We're talking about the mustard seed. How the mustard seed can turn into that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I therefore feel you, and I did even wanted to ask you. You said you had moments, where you could have left. Yeah.
Why didn't I leave?
Yeah.
Like, and not to go into like the specifics of what happened, but it's just like, what did the signs look like? One, and then two, how did you feel that kind of made you stay and not listen?
So I think by nature, I'm a listener. Like, I listen to people. I can sit in this room and not say a word, and I will listen to people, do you understand, to better understand the situation. And I feel like for a lot of people, for a lot of my friends, I am a listener. And so for that reason, I tend not to walk away.
Because they need
Like you need to be there.
I need to listen to them.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
I
And
hear it.
like, and so I think that's probably what that situation was like. Listen, help, guide, and yeah, I think that again I could have left, but I also feel like I left at the right time.
Yeah.
Because
It's God's
I
time.
feel like
God's
right, it's
time.
God's time, and I feel like I've served my purpose in your life, and it's one that you will never forget. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I love about friendships. Like I've always said, like when I was in sixth form and having a lot of discourse with my friendships, then like I'm similar to you where I've never had a group. Like I've never been like Polymes in this clique, or
Yeah.
I've always been that butterfly that I've been in everywhere.
Yeah.
But that's also hindered my growth in friendship as well, because it sometimes it can be like, oh, you only have that one friend that you stayed with, or everyone doesn't really see you as not that as you don't want to see you as their best friend. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So because you're everywhere, like you kind of sowed enough seeds in everyone's baskets, and it can be hard to kind of stop being friends with people because you're not even that close to them initially. That was my thing. How can I stop being friends with you when I'm not even that close of a friend with you? But you still don't. God still doesn't want you to have even that small access that you have. God still thinks it's a lot. It's too much of an access. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
I've had to like learn how to be like, okay, cool. Even if you're not regularly in communication with this person, every time you spoke to this person, they've made you more depressed. They haven't, made you grow. Do you know what I mean? They haven't done anything fruitful to you. Yeah, you speak to them once a month, but that once a month has set you back 2 months. Yeah. So they need to go. Do you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, leading on from what both of you have said, I don't know who said it, but someone said something about God seeing the bigger picture as well.
Oh, yeah,
and I think it's very important that we have to understand that whatever we do go through, even like I don't even know your situation with your friends, but I don't know how you felt during the times that you were losing these friends. You probably felt like rubbish, or you probably felt like,
I didn't feel anything.
not even feeling like rubbish.
Sorry,
I was peaceful. I was at peace.
Not even like, but
that's
like
what
you
it
might have
was.
not understood why it was happening. And I want to like talk about a story in the Bible where obviously the disciples, they're on a boat, and I think this kind of relates to this story. That the disciples, they're on a boat, and obviously the storm. You know the story of the storm. and obviously the storm starts happening, and I think that's like what tends to happen in our lives. Like there's a storm in our lives, everything seems fine, then there's a storm, and then panic occurs. But then you guys know the story. They go and wake up Jesus, and Jesus said, "Focus on me, not the storm." And I think that's something that we all need to like apply in our lives. I think a lot of us tend to focus on things that are going on beyond our control. And I realized that even with your story, that you just said that these friends that you didn't really care, but obviously they were dropping out like flies, and that's the bigger picture in it. Like these people are not meant to be in your life. And I feel like that's probably...
I also feel like friends is also very first base, because if we want to now tap into family, do you understand? Family is deep. And so if you want to tap it, sometimes it's hard to say, but for some people, if you hear their stories, their parents are their enemies. Do you understand? So it's like, okay, if we want to use the analogy of like, you know, with the friends, like, oh, just start separate. How do you separate yourself from your mum?
And that's, I even wanted to go there next. It's like, how did you learn? Because one thing is, God won't just say, cut off, and that's it. You don't need to. God will still tell you, you need to still love that person. God can even say, it's your job to even pray for that person. How did you keep the balance of, my heart is not at rage, but I'm unsettled with this. I need to keep my heart pure to God.
Were you unsettled with it though? No. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not really like...
I feel like with you, I think it may be different, because I think you were just like, oh, okay, they're gone. I didn't really want to be the one to break it to them, but thank you God that you did. Kind of vibe, but I'm getting from you.
It was a loss, because it is a loss. You had a connection with people. Do you understand? It is a loss, but you can understand that there's growth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's growth. And it doesn't mean that in a year or 2 or 10, you cannot rebuild something, because maybe at that point in time in life,
they weren't necessary.
You know, I realized as a listener, you care more about the person that's talking. So I can understand the position of your heart where it's just like, I've kind of always had love for you, even if we're not friends like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love everybody.
No,
I'm a lover.
Maximum respect.
Yeah.
I think it's different for me, because when I lost one of my friends, that was really, really dear to me, and one of the friends that like I said, I was friends with a lot of people, but this is one person that I let into that inner circle of me, and she just messaged me and this other friend that we were in, and she was just like, oh, I don't want to be friends with you guys anymore. Like, that was it. Blocked us, no explanation. Disappeared. Absolutely disappeared, like flatline went. And this was literally a week after she came for my birthday as well. So it was like, I wouldn't even expect it. So it was like, we were fine on my birthday, everything. And then the week after is like, bye. And because of the way everything ended, because I wasn't prepared to lose a friend, she on her part, when she explained 4 years later, she said, she felt like the friendship wasn't serving her anymore. When she explained that, it didn't make sense to me, but I realized that in that point where God wanted me to stop being too much of a helper to people, because from like how I grew up, I was like, oh, if you need me, I'll go above and beyond for people. And I never went above and beyond for myself and to do things that God actually placed in my hands to do. I was too busy helping people. And when she explained to me everything that happened in her life in those 4 years, compared to everything that happened in my life in 4 years, I know that I wouldn't have had 100% focus in what was going on if she was around. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because God knows that I would have been to Birmingham every week, making sure she's okay. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Doing stuff all the time.
Seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, doing so much for her. And she was even saying her biggest thing, she didn't want to be a burden. She felt like she was approaching that season of her life where she just needed to go into that battle alone. And that was something that was revealed to her. And over time, I had to learn that people getting cut off, God cutting other people off, to the other person who God hasn't spoken to, it may seem like, oh, that person's doing something, is bad towards you, but that's kind of a near miss, because it's like you could have forced that friendship to happen, and that could have now been bad on your part. Do you know what I mean? That could have hindered your growth. And it could have hindered her growth. It's both of us as well. And that ending it was really, really bad. I was like very upset because she was one of the person that I really allowed into my life, and I don't share anything because my parents are like, no one needs to know about what's going on in your life. So I was worried about her knowing that much information about me and disappearing. That's what I was worried about. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? And God was just like, this is why I do stuff. But it wasn't even, we weren't in the same path anymore. But it was all love. Like, she can always call me and message me now, or she even wanted me to even design some clothes for her. I was just like, yeah, I'll design some clothes, designed it, sent it to her. And do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I can do that for you because I know that there's a reason why things happen, you know?
Yeah. No, I was going to also say as well, from you lot's other point as well. Have you lot watched, totally random by the way, but have you lot watched The Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah.
Will Smith,
Yeah.
So
Jada
many
Smith.
times.
There's that scene, yeah, where Jaden's basically speaking to his dad, and he was like, there was a man stranded on the island, and obviously he asked God to come and save him.
Yeah.
The boat came, and the question I want to ask is basically similar to that scenario. And for those that don't know, by the way, so basically a man asked for God to help them, and then a boat came. And the man said, no, I'm fine. Yeah. Like, God's gonna save me. Yeah. So yeah, he said, cool. The boat left. Another boat came. And he said, do you need help? He was like, no, don't worry, I'm fine. Like, God's gonna save me. I talked
to God, he's gonna save me.
And then obviously the man passed away on the island. He then came to God and said, like, God, why didn't you save me? Yeah. And he was like, I sent 2 boats, you dummy. So like, the question I want to ask is, has there been any signs that God is basically trying to show you that you might have missed? This is open to the floor, by the way. Anyone can answer this. But has there ever been signs in your life that you're thinking, okay, this might not be for me? Just so that the audience can know, like, to avoid these signs and stuff. But yeah, anyone?
I think so. Yeah, it's nothing big. I don't think so. But it's one of the other jobs that I do. I work with the guy that owns the business. I kind of work with him, the DIY one. Yeah. So when he actually wanted to use me, you know the imposter syndrome thing? When I had to do a job, all I needed to do was put up blinds. And then after a while, I was like, okay, this is taking long and I'm still on step 1. This guy's going to think I'm dumb. And then I'm going to get fired. So I was thinking I need to make an excuse. I have to make an excuse. But at the time, what I was praying for is like, you know, to have more courage and be bold and be strong. And I feel like I was put in a situation where I had to be uncomfortable, show that I'm courageous, bold, and strong. If when he comes back and he's like, "Bro, what's going on?" Like, I'll just be real with him. Listen, I know you think I'm some DIY man because I'm hench, but like,
this is difficult.
Yeah. And but what happened was I got scared. I was like, "Oh, I'm in that territory that usually, you know, when I'm trying to have a breakthrough, when I get to that point, it's like, nah, let me turn around and go home." And I feel like those things come a lot of the time, but when I'm not being attentive or if I feel like I'm too comfortable, then it's just like, yeah, let me just go back to being comfortable. Let me go back to being scared and just hiding in the corner, lying to people outside saying, oh no, I'm this person, I'm that person, but they don't see those things happening. They just see oh, you're a hench type of thing. That's all people see. They'll be like, yeah, yo, why have you go gym 24 hours a day? But they're not seeing the things that God will see, you know, your heart, and he sees what's going on behind closed doors. So that's those type of situations, I think, is where when I'm praying for certain things to happen, like, let me be strong. I'll be in a situation where I have to be strong. But then
you don't see that as the situation.
Yeah.
I think strength is just going to be given as
yeah, exactly. I was I was thinking it's like magic. It's just a click and then I'm just going to be strong.
Yeah. I like that you say that though, but because I wouldn't say it's a Bible verse. I think it's more like a proverb. That God doesn't give you strength; He gives you opportunities to show how strong you are. Yeah. And I think that's you basically, like, yeah, more or less. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And
it's taking those opportunities to actually, you know, God is like, hey, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're not trying to embarrass him now because it's just like he's made this, he's orchestrated this environment for you. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's one step at a time. You know, maybe one time you run away, next time you have a conversation, next time you do it. Do you get what I mean? I don't think it's something that one situation that you see of that gets placed in front of you to So example, if you're scared of singing, for example, that one time you've been given the mic, don't think that that's the one time you need to show all out and all of a sudden have that much confidence. Taking up that mic and saying that you're going to sing that one song alone is an inch. Cool. The next time they give you a mic, okay, cool. You sing 2 songs. The next time you can lead praise and worship. I'm not going to expect you to, lead praise and worship the first time and think just because you weren't able to do that, you're not courageous, you're not strong. Take those little steps that you do as showing courage already,
But how about you?
There's one story that comes to mind, but I feel like it's more focused on. I feel like you see when you're talking about the type of person you are, like you're just willing to go all out, hard working. You see what we're talking about.
Black people.
There was a day that I had.
Firstborns.
There was a day that I had a performance, but it was one of these, Roller World. Them skating places that goes on to like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. So I had a performance, and I feel like God gave me a lot of signs to just chill, like sleep, rest, go back to Canterbury in the morning because I was in uni them times, and I was just very much on like, nah, man, I can do it. You see this? I can do it. Cut long story short, I was on the motorway and I was driving, and I was doing like 70 miles per hour. I was on the fast lane. So around 7 o'clock in the morning, I've dropped the people in the ends off. It was me and my other boy, Icon, who's the owner of Guap.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Driving up, and cut long story short, I slept off on the wheel. But I feel like the saving grace was I was on the fast lane, went to the middle lane, went to the left lane, went to the hard shoulder. Whoa. And then, there's sometimes like on motorways, there's that place of like green grass and that. It wasn't until my wheel kicked the curve of that I woke up. And my car done like 4, just spinning around like this. Icon was scared. He was scared. But reason why I'm saying like that's a near miss and that's grace is because honestly, anything could have happened. If there was another car, if it even had a railing, the car would have been X'd. And I feel like where I didn't listen is even Icon's just like, let's rest. And my mum was saying, don't go. Have you slept? Even after the thing, Icon was awake. He said, nah, bro, let's go to the service station and think. But you see, after them kind of experiences, you're awake. And then I just went. But thinking about that just made me realize that you can't think about near misses and not talk about the level of grace God shows. Because I feel like do you know what it is? I feel like even with like near misses, I feel like based on your relationship with God or your journey or where you're at with God, determines on how you look at things. Some things I've stopped looking at as misses is this is a draw out for you to learn. You have to be very self-reflective and reflectant to be able to acknowledge that, cool, God's highlighting something. Or this is something I need to focus on now. So yeah, that's a story that kind of comes to mind where it's just like, cool, anything could have happened. But God's saving grace, that was definitely near miss.
That's interesting.
I'm saying no pole. They have the poles and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, because that could have been very drastic still. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think there's a Bible verse that says something along the lines. Romans something 18. Something 18. Like the joy. Do you guys know the Bible verse? Come on, guys, help me.
You literally said
there's a few verses and chapters.
You know the verse.
When I say it, you guys will be like, oh,
Wait, you say it.
The feeling that you're feeling now is nothing compared to
look
at you. But like, I think that's very touching still. How about you, Michelle?
My mind's been like, as you guys are talking, I've like been battling in my mind, like, what I could say. I think there's a lot. Even you were talking about the singing earlier. So, like growing up
sing?
In the church, yes.
Beautifully, by the way.
In the church. No, there's no need for the claps. No need for the claps, but like,
that's a gift.
But like, I've always like grown up with like stage fright.
Tell me about it.
Like I have, not anymore, we praise God, But like, obviously it creeps in from time to
Teach
time.
me, how do you overcome stage fright?
Just believe it. God's got you when you get there. That's how I had to, like, because obviously I used to dance on massive stages, and for someone that
There's an I'm the real superstar here. I'm the real superstar.
for someone that like has stage fright, I literally used to like tremble before I get on there. And the thing is, when you do get on there, you don't see the faces. You're just doing your thing. But like when it comes to the singing in church, you touched on it again. You know, we get that judgy thing, that feeling of, oh, I'm flopping, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And those things that, you know, again, it's strength, it's just perseverance. And I guess being given that chance to like, to do it again. All it takes is a chance. And I feel like when we've been touching on the imposter syndrome, a lot of us don't have community. And in the black scene, I would say the community side of things, we're at a lack. Do you understand? Which is why when it comes to something like, for example, what I was saying about the singing, it's like if you don't have those people there that will give you a chance or push you, or you know what I mean, it can be very techie. So I thank God, because though I always say that I can sing, but I'm not a singer. But I would lead worship in my church and stuff like that, right? So I'm not a singer in the sense that you're not going to hear me creating an album or something. Do you understand? But I can sing.
An artist.
I'm not an artist.
Okay.
But you sing.
But you sing.
But I
Use your
sing.
gift.
Yeah.
I use my gift in church. Do you understand?
Which is good, yeah.
But God has given me opportunity where I feel like I've not given myself confidence, or of like, I guess we would use fear. God has always shown himself that, I know you're saying that you're not this, but he'll be giving me opportunities to step in those scenes and to be doing things that I didn't think, do you understand, that like I would be able to do. And yeah, I guess I thank God for that, do you understand? Because
I think those are the things that I am kind of upset at myself about, as not taking the opportunities that God has given me to show, to, like, I'll ask him for like strength, or like I'll ask him to not make me scared. Like even till now, like when I hold the microphone anywhere, anytime, I'm literally shaking like a
yeah.
like, and it's like, it's never that serious, and it's so annoying, and I get angry at myself, because it's like I do this in my sleep. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
It's second nature to me. I'm not being asked to sing a new song that I wrote. I'm being asked to sing the same song that I already know I've been singing. But it's literally, then when you're given the opportunity to do stuff, it's like, oh, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to, and it's like you're hindering yourself.
I always remind myself.
I'm my biggest problem.
I always remind myself that, listen, if you don't take that opportunity, it's going to someone else.
You miss 100%
You've
of
missed
the
it.
opportunities.
But you know, I become so complacent, because I don't see myself to be that. I don't see myself to be that big. I don't see myself to I don't see my talent to be that big. Sorry, God. But it's like, to the extent where I feel like, give it to someone else. They need it more. I just feel like at that point of time, I'm like, okay, cool. You missed this opportunity, but like missed opportunity. Not like, I think this is with pride for myself, because I feel like, okay, then as long as I have this voice, there'll be another opportunity for me to do it. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of, that's what the worst thing about procrastination is. Like you don't know what tomorrow will hold, and you're giving yourself that pride that God is gonna give you. That I could break my voice tomorrow, kind of vibe. But it's just, I don't know what it is in me that I just find it hard to be fearless. You know, maybe that's a walk that I need to go with. Not even maybe it is, but like I just find it very hard to be fearless, and yeah, and I just feel like it's never that serious. You can actually just be singing. Why is it that when I get there they want me to lead?
Yeah.
Why is God not satisfied with me just being in the choir and singing? Like, at least I'm using my voice. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just very uncomfortable to be pushed out of your comfort zone. And I just need to understand the necessity. And I know, and I feel like God is saying it's actually not for you, because He doesn't give you gift for yourself. and that's what makes me feel sad when I don't take that opportunity, because who has missed out by me not doing God's work? Do you know what I mean? By me not ministering. Yeah.
I'd say for you singers, because obviously I can sing as well. Occasionally.
Yeah.
But now for
In
you
the
singers,
shower.
especially being especially being part of congregation, I feel like you guys miss out on what you're actually doing for us. General. So I do also think, like, in terms of just singers in general, because obviously we're speaking about you two and obviously Josh as well. That never forget that your gift isn't what you said. Your gift is not for you. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like you might not like it, you might feel pressure about it. However, it isn't for you. It is for God's work, and we were also touching on how obviously we should always see the bigger picture. Yeah. And God's always working on something bigger than us. Like we might be a stroke of a brush, but there's a whole canvas that he's working on that we're part of. And I was also gonna say as well, like for the people at home and audience as well, that are here with us today, like what things would you like? How would you give advice on how to like not miss these signs? Because obviously today's topic's near misses and stuff, and there's signs that God gives us. Like how would you as yourself try advise yourself on how to not miss these signs?
I wanted to touch on what she was
saying. Go on.
I'll be quick. But you wrapped it up. Like, honestly, you said that you don't see yourself in it. And that's 100% truth. Like, we were never designed to see ourselves. We only see a reflection of ourselves. So I've learned, and where I found peace as an artist, because I'll be real, if me and Beyonce were to stand a cappella, let's sing Mary Had a Little Lamb, we're going to get two different crowd reactions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I realized that I didn't ask for my name. I didn't ask for my gift. I didn't ask for the feet I have. I didn't even ask to look like this. I've been given it. As you were saying, that you are blessed to be a blessing. So if you know you have something, it's not for you. You are not the person to dictate what happens or how it should happen. And the issue is we feel like we see ourselves and we say, nah, like, why can't it be this person? Like, why does it have to be me? You don't, and going back, the people in the congregation, you don't actually know how you're feeling. That's why our job as humans is just to go, let God do the rest. And again, I've just clocked, I believe God had to tell me that the gifts I've got is just perfect for my mission. So any opportunity that comes, at least face it head on, rather than, I've realized God don't like scared. It's like the people in the boat. The moment you're scared, God is, you have little faith. Like, what? Literally. You know what I'm saying? You don't like. But I'll be real with you. One of my prayers that I've been praying is, God, allow me to see the value of myself through the level of your investment. So let me see myself how you look at me, rather than how I'm trying to. You know what I'm saying? No, for real. Because I feel like, you see, even the Bible, when it emphasizes on like, and to come before the throne of grace or grace of throne in boldness, there's a posture, there's something you must carry to bring. You know what I'm saying? And the last thing I would say before it slips my mind, which I think it may have just slipped my mind. Last thing I wanted to say about near misses. I've been studying Jonah of recently, and I feel like his story, God asked him to send him, said, go and tell these people this. He got a bit scared. Even try to run and said no. And what did God do? God said, stone. You guys are not getting anywhere. To the point that his result was like, if you guys want the storm to die down, throw me off board. Literally, throw me off board. And then what's funny with it and timing. That's why you see, if God sends you to do something, the best thing to do is just go, even if it's rubbish. Just do it, because even when Job has now gone to do what God's told him to do, and the disasters and all of this stuff didn't happen, he was just like, so why did I go in the first place type of thing? And you just think, you don't know how you would have impacted. You see the one soul that's in the congregation that's just going to come for that one Sunday. Service. But it's going to, you don't know how it's going to impact. So Thank you.
No, I agree with that. But I think
Advice.
that's all the time we have for today,
Oh
unfortunately.
my god.
I know, man, was having fun in it. Don't worry, we'll bring you guys back another day. But I don't know what our people behind the stage are doing.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Let us know any of your near misses as well and how you've overcame them. If you have any advice, put them in the comments. We all like to know. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming. This is Kalini. And this is
Jacob.
Ade Josh.
Michelle.
and
Dan, thank you all for coming. Have a blessed day.